like liars, blaggers, Billy Baltitters, wafflers. We all know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? People that tell lies, storytellers, and like above and beyond. You know what I mean? We've all waffled, mate. Exaggerated a story, or well, just told a lie. You know what I mean? We've all done it. But I'm talking about the people that go to the extreme. They've got to be addicted to this sort of thing. You know, it's comes out their mouth as I'm talking to you now. You know, it comes out their mouth as quick as that. Like, you know, like run. As quick as they breathe, they can tell lies, you know. And there was this one geezer, he was a cellmate. I'm not gonna make no judgment about the things he said or why he said them. Yeah, I'm just gonna run through a little list of things that he did say and the things he did in the cell. I'm making no judgment on them. You know, within. By the way, I might as well just say, yeah, this was a big old double cell, right? I got tricked into going in there, yeah. This geezer, he should have been in a single cell. Like, it was a big double cell, like 2 cells knocked into one. You know, the bunk beds are being 1 cell. We had the TV and all that in one, basically in 1 cell. And you could walk through into another. I had my cat. He didn't have nothing. I had my canteen in that bit where the table and the chairs attached to the wall, like little metal table and chairs attached to stuck to the wall that you can't move. That's pretty nothing in that cell really. Seats, bit of canteen in a cupboard, and yeah, and walked in there. Blah blah blah. He's gone to go to the toilet. He goes away, sitting like a woman on the toilet. We've all done that, haven't we? At night, 3 in the morning, 3 in the morning. You can't see, it's dark. You don't want to piss everywhere. You know what I mean? You might just flop down and sit down like a little old girl. But he did it. He did it all the time, right? Odd behaviour to me, yeah. Always sitting like a woman to go to the toilet. If you got pissed off with anything, if you got annoyed with anything, or if you got freaked out or stressed out at all, which was all the time, he'd sit in the corner, which was the empty cell, on the seats that were attached to the wall, one of the seats, and he'd tear up bits of paper into little tiny bits and put them in the bin. Like, he wouldn't just chuck them on the floor. He'd have the bin between his legs and just rip up paper, and he could do that for hours. Hours. The first time he did it, I kept looking at the corner of my eye. I'm trying to watch telly, and I'm looking at him ripping up paper, and I'm saying to him, "What are you doing? What's the matter?" And he's not answering me. And he did this all the time, and he'd just ignore you and just rip paper up. Yeah, to me, that was for show. You know, be worried about me. Be worried I'm dangerous. Now, what else did he do? He used to sleep with his trainers on. I was on the top bunk. He was on the bottom. I didn't want the bottom bunk. I went in there second. Like, I could have swapped mattresses, but I did not want the bottom bunk. And he used to sleep with his trainers on, so his feet didn't smell. Yeah, someone might have told him to do that. Instantly, he never showered, so obviously that might have been why his feet smelt. He used to lie about showering, right? And when he used to come up, so this cell was next door to the shower, yeah. You walk out your cell, come out your cell, next door is the shower, yeah. So he used to come out the cell sometimes when I used to fucking make him like get in the shower again. This is YOs, by the way, yeah. You put up a lot more crap when you're a YO from the screws. I would never put out this when I knew a few more what my rights were about. You know what I mean? I'd never put up with this. He'd walk out of a cell, go into the shower, yeah. So he'd crash through the shower door, and the shower doors like never used to slam shut. They just shut slowly, you know. So like he'd come out the cell into the shower, and with that door shutting slow, he'd reappear out of the door before it even shut. Like stars in their eyes, like Matthew Kelly, you know what I mean? Coming out like a new man, like all wet hair, towel around his neck. So obviously he was walking in there, whacking his head under the shower. So it looked like he had a shower, go straight back out. You know what I mean? He used to do that. He used to lie about what he was in for. Right. This is what he said he was in for. He said he was a security guard at a bank, yeah? And he had access to the walk-in vault. Walk-in vault, yeah? We're not talking Hollywood movie sets here. We're talking about probably a Halifax in the middle of Basildon or something. You know what I mean? He had access to the walk-in vault, but he had a key, and the bank manager had a key, yeah, and had to turn it at the same time in the morning and at night or whatever. So if you've ever seen Terminator 2, you know when John Connor and the geezer has to get the Terminator arm out of the glass cabinet and they turn the thing at the same time. It's like that. That's what that's what he's telling me, yeah. Oh, all right, blah 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 blah. And you know, obviously he's robbed it. He's robbed the vault, and he one day, boom, just decided he's just going to crack on to rob the vault. But how'd you get the key if you've got two? If you need two keys, so how'd you get the key? Like, I know he's talking shit. I'm going with the flow, aren't I? It's a mold. It's a mold, man. He's got a mold. He's got a mold out of. I don't know. He's got a mold out of blue tack. Well, it's all make believe me. He ain't got a mold out of nothing, but he's got a mold. He's gone in there one day. Took, I don't know what he's took, 20 million or something. Oh. And then I'd stick it on him and I'd tell him why I knew he was lying. And then he'd go into a corner himself, start ripping paper up. Yeah. What else did he do, man? He'd sit there and make a noose. He'd sit there making nooses at night. Not every night. When he got depressed, probably when he'd been caught out lying, he'd make nooses out of a bed sheet. Right? I'd get on the bell. Screw would come. I said, he's on one again. He's making a noose. There'd be a bit of faffing about. Oscar one would come along, blah, 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 geez, with a key. He'd get taken away, go and put it in a listener's room. So they had another suite on that wing. It was like, had a settee in it. You just sit on with a listener. A listener is a trained prisoner by like the Samaritans. They train a prisoner. If you're feeling suicidal or you're feeling down, you just want to talk to someone, go on your cell bell. I want to talk to a listener. A listener will become. It's in full. They with listening will never betray what you said ever. God, mate, I've tried to make them tell me for my own amusement. They never ever will. And yeah, they serve a purpose in jail. So he'd get taken away to the listener. He'd be gone for a few hours. I'd go to bed. They'd come back. He'd say sorry. Blah blah blah. What else did he say? The killer one was when he was basically a young adult, not kid. His dad used to take him outside after giving him a beating, take him outside to the car. I know he only lived down like a council road, not a quiet mansion or nothing when they're on their own. So there'd be other cars about, other neighbours. He's 16, 17. This is what he's telling me, that how old he was. He'd stand there while his dad would get the jump cables out, jump leads out from the car, wire them up to the car battery, lift the lid up, lift the bonnet up with the car, put the jump leads on the battery, then put them onto his chest, onto his nipples. Yeah, then he'd stand there while his dad revved the car up and he'd get electrocuted. The stuff you wouldn't believe. I mean, even if your dad did that when you were 17, you just run off. You just let him sit down, unclip, run away, or whatever. There's no way you'd do that. Anyway, again, you just tell him why he knew he was lying, let him dig a hole. He'd go in the corner and rip paper for a couple of hours. One day I've gone through his paperwork, out of order, and he was in jail for a burglary. Snuck into a sleeping old man's house. We looked through the window, the geezer was asleep, snuck in the back door. I remember what he nicked. He nicked a penknife and a bottle of red wine. So, yeah, penknife and a bottle of red wine, man. I mean, imagine like the trauma you're dealing with to risk it all for a bottle of red wine. I mean, and listen, he was harmless. Yeah, he used to lie because he was insecure and he was dealing with traumas and he was harmless. You know what I mean? So you can't. Looking back, I was a YO. I was heartless towards him. I was totally didn't care about his, and I used to just use him for my own amusement. You know what I mean? Get him to tell a story, then wind him up and have him in the corner ripping paper. You know, talking about his, telling him why he couldn't take his trainers off. You know, totally bullying him really. But he was harmless, and he was, you know, we've met them before, and he's only telling lies to deal with insecurities and traumas and things like that. Another geezer, another one, totally different kettle of fish. Yeah, right. This one said one of his birds was 10 years for attempted murder. Yeah, which he done 7. He got this when he was 17. Right, straight away he got starred up. This is what he's saying. Straight away he got starred up from 17, straight from remand. What jails you go? What jails you go to then? Where'd you end up? Hull. What, straight from 17, remand? Hull. Hull prison? Yeah, Hull was an ACAT back then apparently. You must have looked up a little bit of info, but 17 years old. You're uncategorised when you're 17. But he was so dangerous, he got starred up. Probably double starred up, right? Straight to ACAT. He shot someone when he was 17, he said, and he got paid for it. So he was technically a hitman. Yeah, this is what he used to say. Oh, I hope he sees this. He was a hitman, you know what I mean? Going out on hits and doing hits when he was 17. He said, what else? He said when he was on holiday in America, this was like once he got out. You know, he was in America once he got out from this in America. Him and his mate, he killed 4 people. He shot 4 people and killed them, yeah. And his mate drove off and left him in America, left him to make his own way home, I suppose, from the USA. He said he killed someone in a nightclub in South London, full of people, never got grassed up because they was all scared of him. Said he was like the Pablo Escobar of South London, this geezer, yeah? This is what he said, yeah? People that... Oh, no. What else did he say? Yeah, we used to... if you read a book, like a true crime book, and lent it to him, or it was even his, and it was vice versa, he did it to you or whatever, like literally a week later, you'd hear him telling stories straight from the pages of that book, straight from the pages of the book, down to the full stops and the commas and everything. But he'd be claiming that was him. Like you'd hear him talking about, like literally biting someone's eye out their head and all that, and you're thinking, I read that in the book that I lent you a week ago, you moron! Like, this geezer used to bully youngsters. I heard him threaten to stab an old lady numerous times. I mean, but in reality, yeah, I spoke to, well, listen, in reality, people that was from his estate when he was growing up said that he was just a gopher. He was just a gopher for this sort of, he had some in-laws, yeah, ex-in-laws that he's scared of to this day, that he's hiding from, and he was sort of a gopher for them. Yeah, he married one of their sisters apparently, and he was sort of a gopher, like go and pick this up, go and pick that up, blah 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 blah. And he lived off that for a long time. Then it all come unstuck, and now he's hiding. His own kids don't even know where he lives because he's scared of his in-laws. You know what I mean? And his kids obviously related to his ex-in-laws. Again, I got hold of his paperwork one day, and the only thing he'd ever been nicked for was assaulting a police officer in like the early 80s, yeah, when he was a teenager. We've all hit a police officer, please. I've done it multiple times, I've been away for it. And shoplifting in like the 90s, when he used to pretend that he was like this other head South London mafia geezer, yeah. Oh, actually, no, I didn't meet him in jail. I met him when he gave evidence against me in court, and this was after he told me all this bollocks, by the way. But the thing is, when you're a little snitch and you're giving evidence against people in court, you get hold of their paperwork. Your solicitors get given their paperwork, so all your court cases, all your criminal history get given to you, so you can use it against you when you're giving them. The only thing is, we couldn't use fuck all against you because you've never been nicked for nothing. But I still got not guilty because you're just an idiot liar. Anyway, if you like that story, subscribe, and we'll chat tomorrow. See you later.